Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Andrew.
Dan.
This is the Board Game Rundown. Today we're going to review Arcana Rising from Gray Fox Games.
Yeah.
But first, Bob, what should everybody at home be doing?
You should be liking, subscribing, ringing the bell below there. Share this video with your friends and find us on Discord and all the social medias because we are out there.
That's right. Yep. Alienate friends and family by recommending us to them. So, Bobby, this is your Arcana Rising, right? Your Kickstarter?
Yep.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So it's a engine building game that's played over 3 rounds, 6 rounds of 3 turns of 6 rounds.
3 very quick 6.
Yeah, it's a very weird terminology. So you're getting dealt 6 cards. You're going to be picking one of those cards to either prepare a spell and basically boosting your engine, or you're going to be discarding it face down to trigger whatever moon phases are available at the time. And then once everybody does their first card, you're going to pull these little moon phases out of here, and everybody's going to draft their next card and or cast a spell with that. And you're just kind of building these engines and gaining resources, and you're also earning victory points, where if you get the deluxe version, you do get these cool little
abacuses
as opposed to just tokens.
Abakai.
Abakai, I believe is the pearl. Yes, Ken, thank you. And then as you continue to move down and you draft all of your cards, eventually at the very last card, you can discard it to trigger all of your moon phases and spells and gain all of those resources. And if you notice here, these cards all have like 1, 2, or 3 on the back. So the first round, you're going to use the 1s, 6 cards out. Once those are all drafted, you go to the next one. You're going to redistribute those chips randomly. They're going to do the same thing with 6 cards by either drafting or casting spells. And then in the third one, you're going to do it again. At the end, you're going to tally up all your victory points and see who has the most points. It's pretty straightforward. We played about 30, 45 minutes.
Can you explain if you would cast in round 5?
Yeah, so say right now I have a card out and I'm about to cast round 5. I would discard it face down, and I would trigger my herbology, and I would trigger my blood arts. And you always trigger them from left to right on your player board, as opposed to like where they're at on here.
So you would only trigger those
and top to bottom,
green and red columns
for
that round.
So you have to time. You're like, I know the potion guy is coming up, so I can play this potion now. So that next turn I can cast that spell and trigger that potion ability to gain those extra resources.
Unless a card specifically says and has an icon like this one that says this card casts every time this way, every time you cast.
You'll do it.
There
you found it.
There are a few of those out there that do have that special ability on there, yes.
And then there's just sort of and I don't mean this to sound in a bad way, but these generic resource markers, right?
And these are technically upgraded too. It comes with the cardboard punch outs of 1s and 5s.
Oh yeah, those are better.
Yeah, to keep track of your how much you have there. Yeah, and then technically these are the victory points.
Instead of the abacus.
Instead of the abakai.
Abakai.
Yeah.
Abacus.
Abacus.
But that's the kind of the basic rundown of how to play the game. The rule book was super short. There was one little slight complication at the beginning on when we were supposed to remove these chips, but after like maybe 10 minutes of like, oh, wait a minute, that didn't quite work right. So we reread it, and then it was fine.
And that gave me an opportunity to get in the
game.
game.
An opportunity to jump.
4-page rule book, very easy. The book is small, as you can probably see right there.
Yeah, small footprint. I like that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And then it also has a breakdown of like each of the different little classes here and like what they usually do. And there's a reminder because like some of them are worth 3 of them for a victory point. So the blood is worth negative victory points, and the gold is a 1-for-1. So at the end, you're going to gain points for having all these resources.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's all pretty straightforward, I feel like.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, once we figure out how these come away each time you draft a card and not like at the end of the draft. That's what we had done wrong earlier, because that's what I was saying. There's a complication at the beginning between the round and the turns, that terminology, right? Because each round they call is 1
out of
card
6,
you draft, and then like the turn is once it's all full, then you'll refill it back up again and go to the tier 2.
It's not as intimidating of a deck builder that I thought. Looking at the box, I was like, man, I'm in for something.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a deck builder.
I'm sorry, not deck builder, engine builder.
Yeah, tableau building, engine building.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's just get into components.
All right.
What's in the box?
kind of unfair right? Because we have all the upgraded bits.
That's true. So, I mean, if you just look at the normal bits, right? So, does these chips are standard, like the board is standard?
I guess, judging it by the chips, I'll say the worst thing about this game is the tiny bag.
Yes, because you're actually correct. One, like it'd be nice if it was a flat bottom bag, so it's sat right. Yeah. And plus, yes, it's very small. Once you get all those tokens in there, they don't mix very well.
Yeah,
and Bob's got big gorilla paws, so it's hard to get it in there. To then
I set the game up the second time and actually just put them all under the table in my hand and pulled out 2.
Yeah,
knocked the box over.
And then I knocked the box
small.
over. It's it's.
I've got some extra bags at home. I might see if I've got one that fits a little better and then use this for something else.
Sure. And I also kind of wish there were different colored resources, so I can have in my square, I can have green.
Sure. I think just to keep it simple. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because you pile them up on the individual areas.
And there's a lot of movement of resources. Things are moving from one to another.
Yeah,
I
that just makes it simple to have to keep making change.
The game would look really nice with like those acrylics. You
Sure.
are right about that. Purple acrylics, green acrylics, red acrylics.
Because this game is really
nice.
clean in terms of the color palette. And then you've got these light blue,
these like
just
teal.
generic.
Right. Well, those are the upgrades. I mean, they would have been different colors, right? They would have.
Well, no, they would have been purple and orange. I mean,
yeah, and they're different.
Which,
they have
honestly,
numbers, 1s and 5s.
No, but
he might even be better because I do kind of like that color difference
because
as opposed to
it's pretty similar.
Light blue and then teal.
Right.
I guess I see what you're saying, but I also feel like that extra level in production for this game is probably overkill.
I agree.
Right. Yeah. To put the cost way up.
Yeah, that'd be overkill. But hand me my abacus, please.
What is the price tag on this, Bob?
I think I kickstarted for $40. Don't quote me on that.
Okay, that's
good.
That's actually really good.
That's nice for upgraded components.
This was really talked about when it was on Kickstarter for being extremely affordable for what you're getting.
And the fact that it's 40, Bob, if that's true, that would change my critique of the chips
of
what you get. Yeah,
sure.
That makes me completely.
But card quality's nice.
Did you sleeve these or did it come with sleeves?
I bought one of the options was to come with sleeves. I bought the sleeves.
You added on sleeves for it.
Yeah.
I would say that this is a game though that if you are a person who wants to preserve the life of your game, you're gonna. This is a game that you could play a lot, like quickly. Right. And while these cards feel like they're pretty decent quality, you would probably want to sleeve them.
Sure. So for the record, my pledge, 1 copy deluxe version, $34.
Yeah, oh wow! Okay. Yeah, value wise,
this game.
I literally remember this being on Kickstarter and people talking about like, wow, what an insanely affordable package that you're getting here.
Yeah, it's got a little glossy box. It's got a little bit of a
the
holographic kind of shine.
Yeah, the box looks great.
I'm sure Matt will get hopefully some cool pictures of that to display there.
And these boards are nice. You know, your little tableau boards. I like this. I like the fact that the chips come standard is a nice thing.
Plastic, little dual layer here. They don't just slide around, but they're still easy to pull out of there.
For people who are
not iron clay. For sure. They're still nice.
Chip people, it's plastic, not clay.
Still got nice, satisfying.
That is a bad idea.
Sorry, guys.
Oh boy, we're professionals.
Now everyone listening is like,
we've got the new mic.
An awfully lot like plastic.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I speak tone.
Oh, you speak tone. I should subscribe.
That's exactly what Bob just said there.
That's right.
No, I mean I think I really like the art. I like the style of
Simple
the cards.
art iconography makes it easy for me to distinguish all of the colors.
And I'm going to assume that the colors don't matter as much to a colorblind person because it is all icon heavy, right?
Absolutely.
Everything is
absolutely
icons all over the place.
And I understood what every card meant. I didn't.
Yeah, there was no ambiguity really anywhere.
No, I think I asked about. I think I asked about one, maybe two cards.
You had it right. They're just like, so this just means I do it twice. It's like, yep.
Yeah. And again, you guys learned the game. 10 minutes before I walked in the door, made one adjustment, and then I felt like I learned the game within like 2 minutes. Yeah, I mean, just kind of explained a very basic thing.
Yeah,
and then like. You play half of a round, right? Like you draft one card, decide what to do with it, and then you get it.
No insert, right, Bob?
Yeah, no insert to speak of. I have some of these like boxes that I use for like magic cards and stuff like that. So since they're sleeved, everything just fit right in there. And once you fold all these boxes up in the bags and everything, it fits in there real nice. No lid lift. Everything fits.
Okay.
My last tiny thing I'll mention, just because not every game does this, and I like it going on your these comment on these things. I do appreciate that they are different colors though. Sometimes when they have the ones and the 5s, like
God.
even though they're slightly smaller,
if that would have been the same color,
the table,
that would have been terrible.
Tell.
Right.
Sure.
And so since they're slightly different color, I have no problem telling from across the table which one is which and stuff. So that's
agreed.
nice.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, I agree. All right. Let's go into final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Bobby, it was your game.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first or last?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Because otherwise I feel like I'm saying, I agree.
Yeah.
Luckily, now I can just do that.
Yes. No, so I enjoyed it for $34. I'm glad. Like, is this like a out of the park best game I ever played? Probably not, but I did enjoy it. I think it's fun. I think it's a great little engine builder. I think it'll be easy to introduce to a lot of people, and it basically introduce that topic of or the mechanic of engine building to them.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
and
This would be a
activating this.
good introductory level.
Lightweight
engine building
game. The timing is interesting on how to make sure you get your things.
I enjoyed
to
that.
proc the right way and how that changes each game or each round even.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it's got all the end game iconography right here on your tableau for you. So it's like it makes it a spot for your discard pile. Just makes it real easy to remember, and you don't really like, oh, so how do I get points in the game? It's going to tell you right here. Every 3 of those is 1. 3 of those is 1. Negative points. Like it's just real simple breakdown. The abacus is pretty cool. Like you don't really see a lot of abaci in games.
I believe it's an abacus.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with it for the price point that I paid. I mean, Gray Fox to me has really been knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, they only had that one dud that nobody likes, but me, Champions of Midgard.
What are you talking about?
Dan caught on that right away.
Right
Well,
away.
it was Tim talking.
Yeah,
It was
it's true.
very obvious where that was
But
going.
Gray Fox, first run of Champions of Midgard was not like the best
Sure,
production quality.
the
But that was
expansions make that
But that
game.
was an earlier game for them, and they
He's talking
cleaned
about
up.
it had the rule book problems and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
that
they
is
cleaned up
fair.
a lot of stuff. But I will say that Gray Fox, pretty much after that, is like,
Stepped it up.
yeah. I mean, I like virtually every Gray Fox game I've played since.
Yeah. So that's pretty much my final thoughts on that. So
Andrew,
Yeah, it felt great. I mean, that price point, I'm focused on that.
Yeah,
That's
like,
like,
whoa.
wow, for $35,
Yeah.
this game was created and you got the extra stuff. That's fantastic.
I'm sure the retail probably be a little more than the
Sure.
Kickstarter was. but
Sure.
yeah.
But at the same time, everything just came together in this game. It didn't feel like I got my engine off the ground. It was over before I felt like I was doing
get
anything.
good, son.
Yeah,
Well,
right. Tim and I were
maybe.
rocking it. I don't know what your problem was.
I did get humble second or third. I
was
did not
third.
win.
No, you had a humble third.
Humble third.
Yeah, don't
There was
take
only 3
second
people
away
playing.
from Bob.
So I had a lot of fun with it. This feels like a mix of It's a Wonderful World and Seven Wonders, just in how you're executing the specific actions in specific orders. I mean, it's a card drafting game, so obviously I'm going to think of Seven Wonders just initially, but it had a depth of strategy that I enjoyed. I just wish it would have maybe one more round so I can feel like, oh, now I've built into my blue column so I can I can activate that blue column.
I do feel like there were some cards that I got in the third round
Yes. You
that
really wanted to
I
trigger more.
needed to, if that wasn't like the first card I had, it was basically going to be useless.
Yeah.
And even then, if it's the first card you had, is it really that great? Because you might be able to get 1, maybe 2 tokens on it. Maybe.
Or you have a good card that you want to play, but at the same time you have a card in your columm that you want to activate. So it's like
Yeah.
And I
It's that
appreciate
choice. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
That
the
decision.
tough decisions, but I do feel like maybe some of those cards that would have that you get that seem really powerful in the third round, it'd be great if you could get a card like that in the second round. So then you actually have a chance to fire
Use it
that
a few
bad boy
times.
off.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know where the trade-off is with the balance of that, but because I agree with what you're saying, you know, because you would see those cards where it's like, if this has got a token on it, you get a victory point for every token, but you've got to activate it to get a token. And potentially you've got maybe 2 opportunities to activate
that's it. You
and
have
assuming,
2 shots.
Yeah, well,
or
technically
at
3.
at the last round,
Depending
on where the
as
token
well.
is at.
But then if you get that card and your token to activate it is in that first round,
Yeah.
Yep. Gone.
That way, I think that every game though is like, oh, I want that card because that card will always be good. It's always going to be situational as to when those phases
Sure.
are going to
I mean,
pop.
totally
up and
fair.
you're gonna be able to
Totally
activate.
fair.
And I kind of feel it's almost a good of an engine builder when you're like, oh, just one more turn, right? You really see that engine humming.
Well,
I feel that a lot
actually,
of
I
times in
appreciate
engine
the fact
builders.
that I could have that oh, this is a tough decision I have to make.
Yeah.
If a game can bring that out, then it does a good job.
Yeah.
Sure, I wish it could have felt more of engine building.
I was really glad it ended when it did because I wouldn't have won otherwise.
Sure,
It's true.
Sure, that's fair. So yeah, I had a good time, and wow, that price point.
Yeah.
Geez,
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
great.
Yeah.
It's
So,
great. Daniel,
I agree with pretty much everything you said. I feel slightly stronger, I guess, on the, or at least I will speak slightly stronger on the, I agree. Good engine builder. Oh, one more turn. The problem with this game, it was like 5 more turns. I felt like the game ended
agree.
way too fast.
Sure.
And that's what it's supposed to be. And so that's not really a knock to the game. I just wish it was slightly less of a filler because that's
Yeah.
almost what this is.
Yeah, I think it's almost
yes.
like that custom filler
exactly.
of a real
Like,
game.
this is almost like we could knock this out while we're setting up the other game on the other table.
Yeah.
And it just almost felt too fast. And like you said,
you'll never get 5 cards in a column unless you are dead
Only-
set
yeah.
on. And it would be cool to have a 5-card column combo. you
But
know?
then even if you pulled that off,
4.
that means you have nothing anywhere else.
Yeah. I think I was the only
and-
one who built into red.
Right.
For
Yeah.
example.
Well,
Yeah.
this was last turn for me.
Yeah.
And I guess another negative for me is just that, and this could just be because of the cards we got, and everything. But
Right.
it just feels like the last round of the game, there's 6 turns or whatever. And it's just like everyone's just casting for 4 of them because you're just getting victory
You're
points.
activating those.
Right. And it's just like,
nobody's
that's
playing
not
that last
a fun
card that
round.
you draft.
If the whole last round is okay, now we're all just going to activate whatever randomly came up in that order to get as many points as possible in that last round. The last round, you're building this engine, or at least trying to, right? And then it just kind of flatlines for the last round as most people are just going to be discarding cards.
For that last card, you mean?
It's almost
No,
like
I
you're,
I mean all 6.
Oh, okay.
I just feel like most of those.
Well, because if you're let's just say,
played a few of those.
Bob, let's just say that the purple wasn't there, right? And you only got those 2. These rounds are pretty arbitrary because you're not worried about casting. You're just playing whatever because you're really only going to cast on that one round so you can fire off your big column. I don't know if that's exactly what you're saying, but
Sure, kind
that's,
of, yeah.
But that's kind of one of the things that I saw.
It's just that, even
along your line.
Well, I think this last one here, so everybody is
Right, but then
that's
also
the last card you have.
but
Most
also
times it's
that
been
makes
passed
the
on,
last card-
multiple times.
No, yeah, and that's a really smart system. Having the last round or the last turn of every round,
The card that
because it's
everybody's
the card
passed
you're
on.
stuck with.
Yeah.
You can just cast everything instead. Most people are going to do that anyway. That makes
Correct.
sense to me. I'm just saying in the last round, the third round of the game, we get our tier 3 cards. Yeah, these cards are great, but unless that comes up perfectly and you get the card in the right orders in your hand, you're not going to be able to play them effectively. So it's just this, tough decisions are nice, but they become slightly less tough when you're okay, I can try to work towards this card and I can really build this thing and I can try to get this thing, or I can just cast 6 times and gain 30 victory points.
It's like
I guess I'll do that.
It's like doing an
Yeah.
eggs and wingspan on the last round. You're just well, it gives me more
Eggs,
victory
eggs,
points.
eggs,
Eggs.
Well, and to be fair, that's the strategy. That is the exact strategy that I employed. There was opportunities to score a lot of points based on
Because you had those
the
cards that
columns.
give you those.
Yeah, and they were giving me points every time, and so it's I gotta cast this round if I'm going to get any points. And honestly, for better or for worse, I was so focused on my own stuff. I wasn't really paying attention to what you guys were
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
And so I thought I thought oh, there's no way this is a high score because I felt like everybody
Yeah,
else
you said that, yeah.
was
And then blew us
was
out of the
jamming.
water.
Well, 3 points.
No, you were gone.
Gone, Bob. You heard him.
fine.
Don't take it back. No, but I see what you're saying though. I agree
Yeah,
with you.
the only time I really paid attention to other people would be if one of these came into my hand and it was have the most of X card, I would just be like,
Right. How many? He's got a ton of them. I
right.
want
Or
that.
or if a card came up that said if you have at least 3
blood
green
card, yeah,
cards, then you get 5 victory points. I would just be okay, well, not letting Tim get that one,
Oh,
right?
sure.
But other than that, it doesn't really matter. You're
Yeah.
more so working on your own engine.
This is
for
one of the
sure.
first draft games I've played where I have, in the first game, lifted up my head and looked at other
sure.
people's
Oh,
boards.
yeah.
And I'm okay, I don't want to play that because I do want to counter my opponent in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
And I think they did a good job there,
Yeah.
kind of making me want to look at my opponents.
Yeah, well, and that's how you do with the counter drive. I'll just use the card that you want to cast my stuff.
Right, but also you need to have the timing of that to be correct.
They did a good job.
So you can't just hate draft
all the time.
all the time.
It doesn't have to work.
It will not be an effective strategy.
The game actually tries to get around. I guess a better word is it's trying to enforce the mentality of only hurt someone else if you're helping yourself at the same time.
Right.
I can hurt you, but it's only effective for me to do that if it's on a round that also helps me.
Right.
If I have no green or blue cards and it's a green or blue round, me hate drafting you does nothing for me. As a matter of fact, it hurts me tremendously.
And realistically, it hurts you more because you are not effectively optimizing your turn. Right. Yeah, that's a nice balance.
Yeah, again, I know that most of what I've said has sounded negative, but it's just what I wish the game just was slightly deeper, slightly longer because I enjoy the game, right?
Yeah.
It's just that you start playing. Yeah, for me it just felt like because you're getting your engine going, and then it's just like,
oh, I've got 3 rounds left in this turn.
Okay, we're done, and I got this many points. I guess we play again.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. That's me, I guess. Yeah.
So for me, I think like this is a really nice engine builder, like entry level Tableau engine building kind of thing. I really love the simultaneous turns.
Yes.
Like there's zero downtime, like for everybody playing, so for this type of game, for as light as it is, zero downtime and fast play and teach necessary, right? Absolutely required for a game of this weight. For me, this kind of lands like Cascadia did, and too fast, not enough there for what I was doing. I mean, Cascadia is a very popular game, and again, I don't love it, but
you could see the draw.
I see the appeal, but I also feel like Cascadia is one of those games where it's like, I need like 3 more rounds, like not just 1 more round, but like Daniel's saying, like, I need like 3 or 4 more rounds, and I see the interesting things there, but it just doesn't click for me. Now, I think I like this more than Cascadia, and this is definitely, I would recommend both of those games, this and that game. But for me, I kept seeing some of the similarities, like just with the feelings that it was giving me as I'm playing. But I mean, this is better looking than that.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you go for like 1A or 1B, right? And also that's like Polyanimo, tile laying kind of game. And this is more like, just actually Tableau straight up Tableau building. And I do really like, I love this system. The randomness of like that just makes great replayability.
Yep.
The timing of when the cards are going to pop up, and obviously we didn't go through every card. Playing with 4 players, we have not seen all the cards. So I mean, there's a lot of really good things going for this. But yeah, I mean, when I give my score, I guess what I'm saying will make a lot of sense.
Did we say how many it would play up to?
It's 1 to 6.
I
actually don't think we said that at the beginning.
We did not. Yeah,
I was going to
6,
have Matt put
1 to
it
6
in.
players, and it says 30 to 60 minutes, so maybe 60 minutes with 6 players.
I could see it.
I could see it.
10 minutes per player though is pretty good.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah. Well, but again, like this
Plus,
does.
once you know what you want,
it has
you're going pretty fast.
This does a really good job, though. Like you guys were saying. I mean, 1 or 2 rounds in, you're gonna kind of start working towards some stuff, and you're gonna start to see some cards. I think I even sort of changed directions, like halfway through the first turn or round or whatever you want to call it, because it's like, I really like this card. I threw it down, and then it's like, oh, well, I kind of like this card more, and then was able later on to then do that, and then they actually kind of ended up working out okay together, which was interesting, right? Because you're pairing
up,
right. But I mean, we did have one time, right, where
we're green together,
like so 2 fired off at the same time, which was cool because it worked out. It worked out well for me because that was something that I built up.
Right,
but that could also be like a crap turn for somebody else.
Yeah,
man, if you're building a certain color though, and you see that come up, that is amazing.
Yeah,
you're like, oh my god, I'm building towards that. Like.
Yeah.
My penultimate turn this round is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Moon manipulation, that would have been cool.
Oh,
Play
sure.
a card, move a chip.
I could see a little card with a really simple asymmetric power in the future for this game. With the mechanics of this game, I think an
asymmetric player power would be amazing for this game. Just one for me though. Nobody else.
Right.
Just one.
My asymmetric power is I win.
These might be those.
Bob, are you whipping out
Bob has
secret
stuff he didn't give us?
asymmetry?
Yeah, because there's other stuff that I didn't pull everything out with. Right?
Let me see those. This could.
I thought it was going to be for solo.
Affect my
That's
rating.
why I
Oh,
didn't pull-
sure.
that's why I
When
didn't pull it
casting
out
a
yet,
charm's
actually.
discipline during a charm's moon, ignore the other moon
Look
and
at
take a
this.
discipline of your choice again.
These might
Wow.
be solo.
So it's a
Yeah.
one-time use.
Wow, in the middle of the review, Bob yanks something out.
These are interesting.
Well, I was opening
These
up the
are
because
kinda
I was going to
like,
say some of the solo stuff because you're talking about how
quacks
it's seven wonders, and there's a very pyramid-looking seven
Oh,
wonders
sure.
type of thing for the solo mode. So
No, those are interesting. I don't know that it's enough. It's like, you know, a one-time ability that fires off is always cool.
Yep.
You know, because again, the timing, you're rewarded for your timing and your strategy with that.
I want to like play again now. Because
Right,
I
and
know
it
that
kind of
we
makes
have
sense
these.
in a potentially 25, 30-minute game that you'd have a one-time power. Because again, this whole game, for those that are interested in this kind of thing, everything in this game, whether it has to do with the engine you're building, the moon phases that come up, the cards that you're getting, everything is timing.
Yeah.
And so having a
Yes.
one-time power fits perfectly into that theme of, hey, focus on timing.
And
When is
it's-
the best chance to
because
activate this
because
card.
this and your card draws are all going to be mitigated by the timing of your decisions
Yep.
and just choosing, because you can choose cards maybe that don't always like work perfectly together, but if you fire these off at the right times, I mean, you could
Feels
really
good.
score a lot of points. And yeah, it feels good. I mean, it's very easy to generate a bunch of resources.
Yes,
I
yeah.
feel like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
A few more rounds, it would have felt awesome.
They would have had
But
to
it
double
feels good.
the amount of chits
Yes.
that they gave us with a few more rounds. Because there was a couple times where it was like only one or two of these
Yeah.
things.
All right, Bob, convert your resources. You've got too many singles over there.
Yeah, I mean, there was times where it's like, can we convert some fives to
Yeah,
tens?
tens.
You know, but
Bad idea. I might keep some of the tens out. We'll see.
but let's go into our final score.
I had a really good time.
Okay, Bobby.
All right.
Start us off with a final score.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm gonna go with an 8 because I would totally recommend it. The price point is super accessible. Yeah.
Yeah, the price point's great.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, so I'm going to say a 7.5. I like drafting games, but they're not my favorite. But this was very enjoyable. I would choose this over a lot of other card drafting games that I've played. Price point is right there. I'm not the biggest fan of the theme, but they hit the color palette just fantastically. The presentation is all there, even if you remove all the things that Bob
Deluxified it.
kickstarted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just these and these.
Yeah. That was it.
It's still right there. I enjoyed it. I didn't know about these, but that adds a little bit to it. And everything was so understandable by the end of the first round. This
Agreed.
is totally a hey, what should we play first game?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be opposed to
We could play this
playing
playing
four
up to
times
6.
while somebody
Yeah.
sets up Nemesis.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's one of those games where it's like, all right, you want to play again now? Like,
Yeah.
now that you get it, like, let's do it. And
100%.
I would totally play this game again, like twice in a night. So
100%.
7.5.
Daniel.
Yeah, I mostly agree. Again, I don't know if the problem is it doesn't scratch the itch, it rubs it, which makes the itch worse for me. You know what I'm saying? And so I liked it. I would play it again. My score would be lower, except for the fact that I would recommend this to basically anyone. I think that this game is going to have a huge audience if people play it, right? And so I'm going to fall on a 7 because I've always said that's the lowest score I can give if I think I would recommend a game. And I can't think of anyone I wouldn't say, yeah, try it. It's fun. You know, I can't think of anyone I wouldn't say that to.
If you like your itch rubbed.
Right.
Itch rub.
Don't scratch your itch.
No, I want my itch scratched. This
No,
game doesn't
only
exactly
rubs here.
reach
Board
the
game rub
scratch
down.
point.
Only given.
Stop chewing your nails.
Oh, I can't. They're so bad.
All right, Tim.
I'm right along the line with Dan here. This is a 7 for me. Same reasons though. I recommend this game, like especially like people that are newer to the hobby. You know, maybe they haven't played an engine builder. Like, oh yeah, this for the price point, right? Like, take a flyer on a game. Like, you're not going to get burned. I mean, I love that you spent $35 on this because I know you and I have spent more than $100 on multiple Kickstarters at different times, right? And will again,
Right.
You know, so to find some value in a game, you know, like that. It's going to get played. You'll get this game played. You get this game played at meetups and everything. Now, if we're at a game night and there's maybe somebody that hasn't played it and we're setting up
check it
something
out.
big,
Yeah.
great. But I probably would not buy this game, but not just because like Daniel, it just doesn't scratch that itch for me. I don't know that it rubs it, but it just doesn't.
It just irritates my itch.
It just doesn't scratch that itch for me, but not a bad game. I think that this is a game that a lot of people will really like if they see it and play it. Right. So yeah, that's a 7 for me.
Okay. So if we take all of our scores and we average them together, 7.4.
Right on. I think that's a pretty good rating for this. I think this is an above average game that is recommendable, right, by all of us.
Yes.
So,
Get some eyes on it.
yeah.
Check out Gray Fox, man. They got a ton of good stuff over there.
They do. I can't wait for last
Again, I
night,
don't
though.
feel like we need to say that though. They're a very well-known company that for some reason no one knows their games. I don't understand. Everyone's like, I know Gray Fox. And then you're like, okay, what games have you played of theirs? Like, I can't think of any.
But they're out there.
I've been emotionally scarred by one of them.
Good job.
All right, guys. So this has been Arcana Rising. And for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
That was Bob.
Andrew.
Dan.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Rub that itch.